They had a plan: sell the house, downsize, be closer to that new grandbaby. Then their dog needed emergency surgery. $15,000 later, that plan, well, it's not gone, but it's definitely not what it used to be. You know, if you're in the Denver area and you've ever had a home plan derailed by something you never saw coming, you need to hear what happened next. The situation. Well, let's call them Charlie and Janice, empty nesters here in the Denver area, both in their 60s, and for the last year or so, they've been crafting a plan. Sell the house, free up some equity, maybe use it to build an ADU on their daughter's new property so they could be close to family without all living under the same roof. Then their dog got hurt. Nothing anyone could have predicted, emergency surgery, and the bill came in at about $15,000. They didn't have that sitting in savings, so they did what a lot of people would do. They pulled a HELOC against the house to cover it. Now here's where it shifts. Their daughter and her husband just moved up north, and the daughter just had a baby, their first grandchild. But now the family's a little further than Charlie and Janice had planned around. And so the visits that used to be that quick drive over, well, now there's a little more travel involved. Getting that easy, spontaneous time with the new baby, it isn't quite as simple as they had pictured. And on top of that, selling now with less equity than they were counting on, well, means the numbers just aren't what they were. So are Charlie and Janice stuck? Are they starting all over? Or is something else going on here? Delayed, not dead. Here's what I want you to hear, because I think a lot of you are sitting with some version of this right now. A plan changing isn't the same as a plan failing. Charlie and Janice aren't back at square one. Their equity didn't disappear. They borrowed against it. Their relationship with their daughter hasn't changed either. Visits now take a little more time and planning than they did before. What changed was their timeline. And a timeline was never the plan. The plan was always to be closer to family, on their terms, without giving up their independence. That part hasn't moved at all. This is exactly the kind of thing I walk people through in my What's Next guide. Not because there's a one-size-fits-all answer, but because people in this situation, they aren't usually asking, should I move? They're asking, does this delay mean I have to start all over? And usually the answer is no. It means the next step looks a little different than you thought it would. So what does a little different actually look like? Well, that's where it gets interesting. What a little different looks like. So here's what we're actually looking at for Charlie and Janice. And I'll be honest with you, none of this is a straight line, which I think is the most real part of this story. Option one, they sit tight another year or two, let that HELOC get paid down, and visit the move closer, build an ADU idea once the dust settles. Nothing wrong with that. Their home in the Denver suburbs is holding its value, so time isn't working against them the way they might assume. Option two, they still sell, just later than planned, and instead of building an ADU right away, they rent something smaller near their daughter for a year first. Get a feel for the area, be close to that new grandbaby, and make a permanent decision once they're not making it under financial pressure. And option three, this one made Janice laugh when I brought it up, is make a move somewhere in the middle. Don't stay in the same house that's becoming a little too much, and don't chase the full move up north either. They downsize into something more manageable, both physically and financially, in a spot that maybe splits the difference in the middle somewhere, and that lets them rebuild some equity without pressure. Then down the road, once things have settled, they can look at whether that ADU near the grandkids setup is actually right for them, the way it's worked out for some other families, or whether it's not the right move after all. Now, this is just an example of some of the ideas and strategies I've seen people use. And that's really the point. When your plan gets delayed, you don't have just one path back. You usually have more options than you think, not fewer. Charlie and Janice haven't given up on their plan. They just learned that a plan can flex without falling apart. And honestly, if you're in a similar situation, that might be true for you too. So here's my question for you. If something threw you off your timeline tomorrow, family, health, money, anything, would you feel like you were starting over, or would you feel like you just needed to adjust your course? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one, and I would genuinely love to know where you're at with this. And if your next chapter includes being closer to family, there's a decision hiding inside that one that a lot of people don't see coming until it's too late. I made a video about that. Check out Moving Home, Avoid This Regret next. It's linked right here. Hi, if we haven't met, I'm Peggy Dursthoff with Live Denver Suburbs, powered by HomeSmart. And I help people make smart real estate decisions without pressure and without regret. Thank you so much for watching. Please share this with your friends, and I'll see you on the next video.